Hey, great Friday evening. It is an amazing evening in the city of Brownsville, Texas. And I could say that with all confidence because I'm actually in the city of Brownsville, Texas. And this is not a repeat show. It's not one from 2 years ago. It's actually November the 18th, 2022. And it just looks like if it was a repeat, a revisited show, except we're not seeing Seinfeld's apartment.
Something a bit different, Erasmo. Since you are in Facebook jail, I decided to do a late night show since you're not streaming. That way, everybody could tune in.
Late
If
night
you
show.
haven't already, accept the tags. That way, people could, whenever they either go to your page or they look on their feed, they'll be able to see the video that you're tagged in. That way, we can get people an opportunity to tune in tonight on this beautiful Friday night, man.
It is a beautiful Friday night, actually, and it's trippy because despite the fact that it has been a little bit on the wet side, uh, I actually got caught in the rain today. I didn't only get caught in the rain; I got my butt splattered with mud and stuff, uh, and that is because I was on my second scooter, and with my second scooter, uh, the flap in the back doesn't work, so I get sprayed with all the gunk that's on the street. So it's not a good thing. So how does it feel to do a show in the evenings, Frankie, instead of early in the morning?
It feels a bit different. It feels a bit different. It's a little weird. People are saying that they can't hear the tune. It's technology, man. It's always something's up. They say that they could hear me, but they could hear you. Um,
They can't hear me.
they can't hear me, but I'm streaming. I'm streaming your show. I'm streaming uh, your YouTube, which I would think that it would go on, it would go on the sound, but for whatever reason, it's not. I don't know why. It would go on. It would go on the sound of YouTube, which I would think that it would. Yeah, I don't know.
But that sounds. It's your voice, so your sound is good and mine's bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Your My sound is good. Yeah, I don't know.
I can hear both on YouTube, but not on
My
Facebook.
sound is good. Your sound is good. Mine's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. Let me see. I don't know if they could hear us there.
So, Pepper Patty, on Facebook, who can't you hear? Yeah, I was struggling actually
Ah,
today.
I
It
think I
was
think
you.
there. I think the problem is there.
So it was you.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good now.
Well, good. And I'll say because I was tripping because this morning I had to use my computer camera because for some reason my camera was just not working, and I forgot that I had to reset it. So let's see, Erasmo or Frankie, your thoughts on the changes to be at? We're going to talk about that. I'm sure it's going to come up. Let's get through all the rest of the comments. I'm watching on Erasmo show, and I can finally hear you. Oh, cool. I started on Frankie's, but could not hear. Yeah, because you were struggling with technology. You both sound good on Facebook. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
I don't know what's going on.
I can hear both of you on Facebook. Thank you, Nancy and Hermosa. Frankie
I don't
Luck.
know. I don't know why your feed's not coming on.
But everyone's hearing us.
I guess it's because you're live uh on Facebook. Alberto, thanks, Alberto. I don't know. I don't know. Look, have you noticed that there have been changes on Streamyard?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
little bit. There's been some changes. I don't know. I guess ever since I don't know. Ever since I guess I retired, it all went to crap.
Yeah. Oh my God, the BISD meeting was cool. Well, okay, let's go into that since Alberto was asking. And sure. Let me say, guys, the minority did not look very happy. And they looked a little bit on the like frustrated side. And I did not have a chance to see the meeting. I went back and watched some of it just because I wanted to see what was going on. And let me say, and good. One of the things that I mentioned this morning, Frankie, was our hope and our desire is that everyone out there starts working together for the betterment of staff, of students. I hear that staff, students, and everybody else. They need to work together. There's feedback. Yeah, it was Frankie again. Um, there is they have to. They have, and my hope is that they come back and actually do decide to work together. That's the goal. I'm going to say something, and again, nothing against Eddie Garcia. I understand the frustration, guys. I understand the frustration of being in the minority. And I think this is one of the things I think that, and again, I'm not meaning anything bad about this. I think this is what differentiates uh, some of the individuals on the board now and myself when I was on the minority. Because I got crap and a half by Sylvia, Prissy, Drew, and Minerva because, she played along with him. But let me say, I was still Erasmo Castro. You see, that's the difference. Despite the fact that they treated me like crap, everyone and their mother knew who I was. I'd go into a stadium, I'd go into a school, I'd go into any function. And I would dare say 80 to 90% of the people knew that's Erasmo Castro. So, and this is one of the things that I think a lot of folk didn't grasp or understand about Erasmo Castro. I don't need to be an elected official to be Erasmo Castro in this town. I'm still the most famous individual in this rancho. It's just a fact. Again, not trying to build up my head. I think that's the frustration, Frankie, that these people feel that if it isn't for this position, would you even know what a Daniela Lopez Valdez was? Denise Garza? An Eddie Garcia? And the answer is no.
Yeah, the interesting thing, Erasmo, the interesting thing is that how the tides have turned. One day you're high on the mountain, and then the next day it's gone. It was evident from the board meeting. When they had this realignment. But that just goes. Me, I'm young. Fairly new into politics, but that just goes to show that you always have to have a level of respect for people. Whenever you're high, don't get too high because what goes up always comes down. We have to treat people with respect, and that's something that this current board is now facing because look what happened. The superintendent, they said it was a group of 8, but essentially it's a team of 7. The super works for them, but we see how they retaliated against Miss Minerva Peña and Jessica Gonzalez, and now how the tables have turned. So that just goes to show me that you got to treat people with respect because one day you're high and mighty, the next day you're
You're going to
gonna
be on the bottom.
be you're gonna be in the bottom.
Yeah, and I think, and you're right, and I think that that's one of the things that differentiated me from them, in the sense that even though they tried to kick me out and I was on the bottom, I was still at Aspo Castro. Does that make sense? I was still
Yeah.
at Aspo Castro. I'm still out. People were very nice, good to me. But let me say, I, and I mentioned working together. Again, I think Eddie Garcia made a mistake. That as soon as that item came on, Frankie, it was like, well, I want to nominate Daniela Lopez. You know, and it was seconded and it was voted on. And of course, it was going to be 3 against 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think where Eddie Garcia made a mistake was you already knew you didn't have the 4 votes. You don't throw something out there after you've been trying to wine and dine Jessica Gonzalez to come on over to your side. You know? Because if there was an inkling of any doubt in Jessica Gonzalez's mind in regards to, well, that would have sealed it. Does that make sense? Like, oh no, you didn't. Everyone already knew that Jessica Gonzalez wanted the board president position. Even Roman Perez went out there and posted on it, which I think was a mistake on Roman's part. Frankie, it was a mistake. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that because it was like, oh well, I already know what's going to happen. If you go out there and say you already know what's happened, that means that there's conversations going on. Again, we all know there's conversations going on. You just shouldn't be posting on it. You know what I'm saying, Frankie?
I understand. I understand it, Asmo. It should have been something that it should have been held, close to the chest. We did hear a few days, a day before, the day of, 5 minutes before, what was going to transpire or what the idea was. But more power to Miss Jessica Gonzalez. Look, this is a candidate who the community saw themselves in, a mother, somebody that was actively involved in her her children's lives, and they voted for her as opposed to a Philip Cowan, an incumbent. So it just goes to show that Jessica Gonzalez now has the opportunity to bring the effective change that she wanted. She probably had some great ideas at Asmo, but she was shunned away. She was censored in a certain way because I don't know. I know you picked up on this, but they would shut her up. They would be like, they wouldn't give her the time of day to even have her word or speak her mind. And now, it's a total 180 at Asmo because when she was voted the president, one thing that was very clear is she asked everybody, "Does anybody have anything to say? This is your opportunity." So, I'm happy for Jessica Gonzalez. I'm happy for Minerva Peña because now they'll be able uh, to listen to their constituents and bring about the change that BISD so desperately needs. So I'm really looking forward to this change, to this new majority, because I really think, Erasmo, that things are really looking good for the district, for the community, because you have people on notice. You have Carlos Lizondo, Frank Ortiz on notice, Minerva Peña, and Jessica Gonzalez on notice that, hey, you know, this is your opportunity to shine, and I'm confident that they will pull through.
So Gonzalez was united with Minerva, Carlos, and Ortiz. Gonzalez supported Drew wholeheartedly. Yeah, because she was an ally to Jessica. And again, you'd expect Jessica Gonzalez to support Drew. I mean, they were on the bottom three, guys. Remember, it was Drew, uh, Jessica Gonzalez, and Minerva. So yeah, it's I don't think Carlos is going to hold that against and let me say this: one of the things that I hope all these individuals do, put the campaigning out. Yeah, it's over. Focus on the future. On where we're at today, but focus on the future. So I'm hoping, and that this is one of the conversations that I had with Eddie Garcia. Look, yeah, it's the past campaigns, the fights that we had in the past. We worked together to move forward, and I appreciate Eddie Garcia having conversations with me. I greatly appreciate that. I think that it's a time for opportunity. It's a time for opportunity, to go a different direction. Because, again, and nothing against these individuals, but the direction that the board and the district was going, uh, which I feel was geared by Gutierrez, not necessarily the board, is not the right one. And the morale was down. Achievement wasn't where it needed to be, and no one could produce an answer to save their life. And I make mention of the AOBE forum that they had with Daniela. It's a disaster. Disaster. Este, y no se mocha el vato.
I'm at
So,
an undisclosed location.
so I think again, more power to the new board. Again, I hope that they find that way to put everything behind them, and all seven work together as a team. All
I
seven as a team.
I agree, and one thing that was very apparent and obvious at Osmo was that it seems as if the superintendent had a lot of say so. And again, he is the general manager, he is the CEO of the district, but with the previous administration, it seems as if he was a part of the board, and we saw the disrespect, we saw the isolation that was demonstrated towards Ms. Gonzalez and Ms. Peña. And what was most evident, Erasmo, whenever you saw the board meetings. Do you remember? Again, because of COVID, they were spaced out. But do you remember who was on the top at Asmo? It was the majority. It was, of course, the president, Mr. Eddie Garcia. It was Denise Garza, Daniela Lopez Valdez, because they didn't want these individuals to have that recognition. They wanted that praise. They wanted that little
Attention.
pedestal, that attention, that little pedestal. And again, how things have changed. And now I think at Asmo, what's going to happen is, and again, looking at it from the outside, an outsider's perspective, I feel as if now we have control of the district, of the board, and now the majority is going to dictate to the superintendent and to his deputies. This is what you need to do, because the way it was the way it was implemented or allowed, it seems as if the super had a lot of leeway. He had a lot of power, and not that he shouldn't have any power, of course, but it just seems as if he was a school board member, and that's not the way it works. So I like the direction in which we all anticipate, in which the district is going. But I think it's very apparent that now it seems as if the superintendent is going to have to work for his job for once.
Yeah. Do you think Carlos will vote to bring Balta back? No, no. And let me say, guys, one of the things about again, if there's anyone out there that knows Baltasar Salazar, it's Erasmo Castro. I know Baltasar Salazar. Uh, I know his the way that he thinks. I know the way that he works. Again, I was at the receiving end of some of his manipulation, of some of his most dastardly doings. But let me say, do I think Carlos and Ortiz and these folks are going to bring him back? No, I don't. Uh, and I'll say this because some people are saying, well, people are saying that Baltasar Salazar was, funding individuals, in the CEO. Let me say, guys, Baltasar Salazar would probably drop a couple tens of thousands in order to get a little bit of revenge on the individuals that kicked him out of the district. But I think it would be a major mistake to bring him back when everyone knows that he is not qualified to be an attorney for a school district. I think it would be a mistake. So I don't think that this new board is willing to make that mistake. That's
I
just
uh,
my take.
I agree, and there was, in the blogs, there was that thing where, that the CEO, we're gonna bring Baltasar Salazar back, and Mr. Salazar, hey, my respects, he's a shark, but we've already had him at the helm of the district, and what did we see at Asmo? A lot of, and again, nothing personal against him, but based on his track record, we saw at Asmo that he would hire other attorneys to do pretty much his
His work.
job, his work. So why are we going to be paying $200,000-$300,000 for an attorney that is going to be hiring other attorneys? And again, do these cases come up? Of course, you always do need the size of BISD, the amount of litigation in which the district finds itself in. You are going to have outside counsel, just to have a different perspective. But it seems as if every lawsuit at Osmo was geared, was a job for his friends. I anticipate the majority going in another direction. Honestly, I'm not very confident in O'Hanlon, in the
No,
O'Hanlon group. But
no,
again, this is just from an outsider's perspective. Mr. Lizondo, Ms. Gonzalez, Ms. Minerva Peña, and maybe even Mr. Ortiz have a better grasp of uh, what we have with O'Hanlon. I personally, I'm not confident in them,
mm,
but I'll trust their judgment moving forward.
yeah,
Now, if I may ask, Erasmo, do you anticipate the BISD having the superintendent and the attorney, let's say, in the next 12 months, or
no.
should we anticipate changes?
Let me tell you, for one of the first changes that they should do is get rid of O'Hanlon. It's that simple. O'Hanlon again made the mistake of funding board members, and these should be like a warning sign. The first steps, guys. If you want to work for BISD, if you want contracts out there, stop putting money in candidates races. So they should set. My opinion. They should set a president out there. You know what, guys? Y'all were out there funding all these other candidates. There goes your contract. I think Linebarger should be put in question. I think Purdue should be given an opportunity to serve. You know, why not? Again, one of the things we've learned about Linebarger is that Linebarger goes out there and just continuously put money into those candidates that they want to bank on winning. So that's got to stop. So teach him a lesson. In regards to Baltasar Salazar, again, not that anyone is out there asking me for advice, but guys, it would be the biggest mistake. Even if you're in the majority, it would be a big mistake because, folks, remember, majorities don't last long.
Mm-mm.
And if that flips, Baltasar Salazar will go after any board member. So Jessica, Ortiz, and Carlos, he'll go after you, any of you, in a split second, and will not bat an eye. Not against Minerva because I think that with Minerva he already has her in the bag. But every other one, all the other three guys, let me tell you right now, if y'all decide to step back into Baltasar Salazar, be the biggest mistake because Baltasar Salazar, for the longest time, was the most powerful individual at BISD. The most powerful individual. Now, are they going to buy out the contract? I don't think so, guys. It's very unfortunate that the majority of the board decided to extend Gutierrez's contract because now it put this new board in a predicament. If they decide to get rid of him, it's going to be costly.
Playing devil's advocate, Erasmo, I know how you hate
Yeah,
this, but let's say, thinking hypothetically, let's say that this new four, the majority, requests a forensic audit. Let's say something comes up in that forensic audit, Erasmo, where again, there's still $1 million in question. What if we find something else in that forensic audit that either the chief deputy, the two deputies, or maybe even the superintendent were involved? Maybe that would lead to a clause in the contract to say, hey, you're terminated based on XYZ. So I do think that there will be changes moving forward. And looking very quickly at El Amortes, looking at uh, looking at Alberto's comment, and it's very true. O'Hanlon didn't even show up. You would think that the head honchos, would want to come and either present themselves before the brand new board members, and they sent no disrespect to the young man, the gentleman, they sent in a rookie. And again, is he capable? Of course, I think attorneys are very skilled, polished, and more than capable. But it's just a sign of respect, don't you think, Erasmo, that you want your top dogs to come and present themselves before the swearing in of ultimately two brand new board members? I
yeah,
think that, Erasmo, I think that is very telling. So I think there is going to be change. I know we don't want to pay Gutierrez. He was extended. We don't want to pay, but I think, Erasmo, that there might be something in the forensic audit that could possibly lead, Erasmo, to to turn for termination. Again, thinking outside the box, thinking for worse. And I do anticipate that there will be changes within these next 12 to 18 months.
This is why, and this is I'm going. This is back my opinion. No one's asking for my opinion. That's why they need to get rid of O'Hanlon first.
Oh, the
First,
okay,
get rid of O'Hanlon,
right.
get that audit going, get rid of O'Hanlon, changed Gonzalez. That other guy did a great job. There's other individuals out there that I got to see in regards to that were wanting or vying for the contract. But let me say, guys, get someone new, someone that's impartial, someone that has no connections to any single board member. First step, uh, forensic audit could already start. If there's anything there, then yeah, just cause. You don't have to pay him a dime. He's gone.
What about Salinas? You think he's gone?
Huh?
Miguel Salinas, you think he's gone?
Uh no, and let me say this. I think Miguel Salinas is a good guy. I think Miguel Salinas is a good guy. Uh I think he's a good guy. I've had conversations with Miguel Salinas, not after the board. I don't want anyone to think that, but while I was the board member, I had good conversations with him, and I truly think that his heart was in the right place. He was tough on a
Good.
lot of the cases. I think he was tough on a lot of the cases that came before him in regards to grievances. But that's his job, guys. Remember, he has to protect the district, so that's just his job. But I think he's an okay guy. In regards to one of the things that I think Victor Caballero was attacked on was on him claiming that he was going to make the superintendent, you know, levantar la escoba y ponerse a barrer. And a lot of people going like, "Oh, that's disrespectful." And I don't think, and I'm not trying to put words in Mr. Caballero's mouth. I don't think that that's what he meant. What he was implying was he needs to do his job and stop depending on all those other AAs, all those deputies, on everybody else. Because when you start, Frankie, when you start having all those middle people, is when you lose $1.2 million. So at the end of the day, the buck stops with Gutierrez. So if there's any wrongdoing, any negligence in regards to this money, that's grounds for termination.
I agree. And going back to Mr. Caballero, what I think you were alluding to was that now we want him to work. We want him to actually pick up his sleeves and get to the meat and potatoes, which is the district. We have seen how the deputies have a lot of control. And correct me if I'm wrong, Erasmo, I think that this has greatly affected the morale of the district because, well, the assistants, they have been pit bulls. They are the ones that run the show. And I think a lot that led to a lot of teachers. They were forced to retire because what, I don't want to deal with this, and a lot more responsibility and things like that. So I think there is going to be a change. And one thing, Erasmo, that I did notice, you could see the look on the faces of the AAs of Mr. Moody. The is he the public information?
Yeah.
The PR PI. His face, the CFO, the deputies, they were just like, oh great, here we go. Because again, they have enjoyed the luxury of having the previous administration let them run amok. It seems as if
Whatever they wanted to do.
the inmates at Osmo, the inmates were running the asylum. So I like this new change. I hope we can keep the AAs on a short leash. Are we going to be perfect? No. It's going to take time to really get it going, but I'm very, very confident. And you could tell it, Asmo, the vibe, the energy of the individuals there. It was so much joy. And one thing that I heard through the public comments at Asmo was the word of hope. You bring us a lot of hope, Mr. Lizondo. You bring us a lot of hope, Mr. Ortiz. We look forward to it. I'm smiling. It seems as if this election really brought about the joy back in people and said, you know what? We have a chance. We have fighters in Mr. Elizondo and Mr. Ortiz, and we should give them the benefit of the doubt because we will see positive change. And I think that's what everyone's looking forward to.
And let me say, it's a huge responsibility And look, I've there will be just cause. Let me read this. There will be just cause. Audits need to take place now. There are other skeletons in the closet. More, it's more than 1.2 million. That's why Robledo left. That's why Robledo left, and Mary Garza is key. She knows it all, covered it all, and if pressured, she will spill her guts. She's been protected by Gutierrez, top minions. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. An audit must be done, and that could give him the caveat. Let me say in regards to Neller's comment, no, I agree. I never liked the battle walls. I it just never made sense to me. I also thought it was kind of weird to have students' information plastered all over the wall. That's just me.
Yeah, that was a little bit too much. Hey, can we switch it up and talk about the recount? That's something
And
that's and the next segment of the late night
and
show.
and talking about Caballero and his comment in regards to sweeping that stuff up. It's got to be a recount on the 29th.
It's going to be very interesting, and it was very impressive to see the support thereafter. When we saw the numbers at Erasmo, there was something weird, and I did hear from a friend that said, "Oh, it's because the Democratic Party they supported Denise, they supported Elizondo, and they supported Ortiz, but they didn't support Caballero." And I said, you know what? I really didn't hear that. All I heard was CEO, CEO, CEO. Never did I hear Miss Denise Garza being in the same world as these candidates. Again, could it happen? Maybe. Well, what is interesting has been the support that Mr. Caballero has received. And again, in order for a recount to occur, it's going to be anywhere between 30. I think it's $30,000 to $40,000. And Mr. Caballero, according to the Brownsville Herald, he said that he got a large amount of donations, not from vendors. And he said, you know what? I owe it to my community to see, because according to a lot of us, the numbers, the 48-52, it just doesn't jive. Now, would this lead to a can of worms at Osmo if we
Oh,
find out that somehow these numbers were tampered with?
it's an explosion, Frankie. It would put into question every single race from this November the 8th election. Every single race, guys. Every single one. Because if they tampered with one, let's just say they hadn't tampered with the rest of them. And I had a conversation because let me tell you guys, it's something that we've been saying for a while in regards to how corrupt the system is here in regards to elections. Let me tell you, folks, if what I think could possibly happen with the Caballero recount, guys, happens, every vote, every race, Frankie, from November the 8th should be thrown out. The results. Does that make sense? Every single one. Because you're not,
Every
yeah, because the pool is tainted, Frankie. Because if they could do it for one, who's to say they didn't do it for the rest of them? It's a
I
mess.
I agree, and look, I don't want to sound like a sore loser. I know how to lose gracefully, but it's just something. It just doesn't jive up. And let's say that this were to happen at Osmo, we're talking about people doing time, because
Oh,
again,
big time.
this is serious stuff. And how
Federal,
much,
Frankie.
Erasmo, how much would it cost to manipulate 20, 30, 40, $50,000? These people, ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, these people get contracts for multi-million dollars. So 40, $50,000 to pay someone to flip the names, to tamper with the computers, that's a drop in the bucket. Me, I hope, nothing against Mr. Caballero, but I hope this isn't true. But if it is, oh my God, this is going to lead to so many questions. And what sucks at Osmo is that I think more people are gonna say again, Cameron County, again, the city of Brownsville, you guys are so corrupt that now you have control of the elections. Now you have control of the machines. Now, is it far fetched? No, because as we know it, guys, technology, it could be tampered with. There's ways to rig the system. So, in the with all due respect, I hope this isn't true. But if it is, oh my God, we're gonna have CNN, Fox News, Univision. We're gonna have it's gonna make national news. And I hope for the sake of Brownsville, this isn't true. But if it is, we got to get to the bottom of it.
Let me say again, as self-serving as it may sound, every single election, November the 8th, tainted, tainted. And it's really unfortunate because well, anyone except I would say like Janie's, which I don't think that I think her part of Brownsville was very minimal. But
It was.
but even what's his name, Villarreal might want to go out there and say, hey, yeah, it's tainted. It might be to his benefit. Again, guys, it's going to be and for something that I think Frankie just mentioned, it goes, here we go, making the news again. Anyone out there that'll go out and say, no, y'all are crazy, that could never happen here. Think of Tanasca. Think of what was in the audit report, guys. For years, people were telling us that we were crazy, that that kind of stuff would never happen here. It's impossible. It's very much possible. And I'm very, very proud. I will say this. Someone had asked about individuals volunteering to be there on November 29th for, to oversee the counting of the ballots. And I will say, uh, I volunteered. I volunteered, and I was informed by Mr. Caballero that he already has his team in play, and I said, "Oh, that's great. But if you need someone, you know, I'm there for you. Whatever you need me to do, I will do. Because if there's someone that knows this whole mess, how it goes, it's myself. So again, in case anyone drops the bucket and or can't make it,
Count you in. I
I'm available on the 29th.
I'm gonna be around there. I'm this is something that's very interesting, and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there, however long it takes. I do have to work that day, but I'll be there for a few hours just to just to see the process. And Erasmo, would this be another case? Yasmin is saying, what if Victor wins? Is this gonna be another Marisa Leal, Minerva Peña situation where it's gonna go through litigation, or is this a case where if for whatever reason it comes out that Mr. Caballero did in fact win, does he assume the role of our new board member, or would it go through a lawsuit and through the litigation?
No, I think it gets overturned immediately.
Mm.
Immediately. That first of all, it gets overturned immediately. That's one thing. Two, and I spoke to the Republican Party, and they were like, "Wow," we're like, it's a no brainer. Every single race that came out of that office, where one election vote got switched around, you better believe it's possible for other races to have been switched around. But many of us don't have those type of funds. So we'll see what happens. The 29th is going to be very telling. We might be finishing this year with groundbreaking case, guys. Because let me tell you, Tanasca is a groundbreaker. It's new, it's different, and they have to pay. If they flip the votes on Caballero, a lot of people got to pay. And what's going to happen, Frankie, is I think is the same thing that comment came in regards to esta Mary Garza up at Financial. Put a little bit of pressure on these people, and they're going to start to spill and sing in order to get a great little cushy deal. I would suggest that anyone out there anyone that has any knowledge of chanchuque at the elections department in regards to this race or other races, you need to come out clean now before there's an investigation. Because then, if you knew anything about it, you're in trouble. Does that make sense, Frankie?
Yeah, it's always the first one that gets the good deal. But has this been going on for several elections? Is
Yeah.
there voter fraud? Is it far fetched to think that people would actually tamper with it? Because again, a lot is at stake in these elections. So it's not far fetched to think that somebody manipulated those numbers. It's really
Well,
not.
let me say this, Frankie, because I think, and call me crazy, but we saw the picture, and you were there. I was driving back from Mazatlan. You saw the I saw the picture of where they were deflated. Eddie, especially Denise and what's her name, Daniela. Denise and Daniela looked like they hadn't slept for days. My question to you, Frankie, was it because of the Elizondo Ortiz victory and new majority, Frankie, or was it because of Caballero recount?
Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe they knew, they saw the writing on the wall when, and we did hear it, Asmo. We did hear about them trying to reach out to Miss Gonzalez and say, they're stroking her. They're saying, oh my God, you're so beautiful and you're the best thing that ever happened to BISD. Come with us, come with us. But thank God, Miss Gonzalez, she didn't bite. Why? Because they humiliated her. Just as Miss Minera Peña was by the superintendent. And again, no board member that is elected by their constituents should be treated that way. They should be treated with respect because at the end of the day, they are the representations of the people. So I'm glad Ms. Gonzalez oversaw this and said, you know what? I'm not going to play your game. Now it's my time. Now it's my turn to take action. And I'm glad the way it transpired. And I'm glad Ms. Gonzalez is at the helm of our district because she knows what's best for the district. She knows what's best for the students. And I hope with this new leadership, we will see the joy back in teachers. We will see BISD be that shining district on that hill. It deserves that. And hopefully, and I'm confident that this new majority will do so. But again, politics is crazy at Asmas.
Yeah.
You're good one day, you're bad the next. So let's hope and pray that these individuals work towards a common goal because I think, Erasmo, that the previous majority, they were too worried about contracts. They were too worried about vendors. They lost focus on what was important, the teachers, morale. But ultimately, Erasmo, it's about respect. You have to respect the individuals that are in the front lines. And that's unfortunate that we didn't see that.
Well, again, I call me BISD and A-rated district for financials with $1.2 million scammed from under their noses. Bullcrap. They are very worried about the voter fraud investigation that will come out in recount. Goes Victor's way. Call me crazy, but I agree with this comment, Frankie. I sort of think that they're shaking in their boots because of the fraud in the election thing.
Imagine it, Asmo.
No,
Imagine it will be insane because again, I know how to lose gracefully, but again, I always love a rematch, but it hits your soul whenever you lose, and then to find out that you lost because something was tampered with. Now, if Miss Denise Garza won fair and square, congratulations. By all means, we wish her well for the next 4 years, and we hope that she works with all members on the board, with the superintendent, with the staff, with the community to bring BISD from the gutter. But if it's not Erasmo, oh
well,
my God.
and let me say, guys, just to add on to the conspiracy theory, guys, there's one common factor in all these races.
Oh, don't say it.
Oh, say
Say
there's
it.
one.
Say it. It's late
It's
night. Say it.
Joey Lopez.
Ooh.
It's the Joey Lopez connection, guys. Call me crazy. Joey Lopez, daughter and niece, I think their votes were flipped 2 years ago. I think Joey Lopez's votes were flipped this election. I think Carlos Cascos and Eddie Trevino's votes were flipped this election. And if Victor Caballero's votes were flipped, the factor, the common denominator, guys, is Joey Lopez. Now, does Joey Lopez have that kind of power, that kind of money? Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, you said something that's really, really important. Guys, these folks, for them, 30, 40, $50,000, these vendors, guys, it's nothing. When you've got, like Frankie mentioned, a million, 2 million, $10 million contract, guys, it's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like it isn't anything for Joey Lopez. 30, $40,000 is nothing. Yet he didn't do a damn thing in this campaign, in this election. Neither did Denise. They didn't. They were very nonchalant. Como que they knew they had it in the bag. Eddie Trevino didn't do much. How long after an election can other candidates request a recount? Someone said 45 days after their canvass or something. I don't think that this, and this is my argument with the Republican Party today, Frankie. I don't think this falls under
It's different.
normal.
Yeah.
It's different. We're
This is
talking
a
about
precedent
criminality.
because this doesn't happen ever,
No,
or it
never.
does, but yeah,
It never.
this sets a precedence. Yeah.
It's never discovered. So no, and this is what I tried to explain to the Republican Party. I said, guys, but you have to understand. They go, no, well, no, 45 days and the recount. You're not understanding what I'm saying
Yeah.
to the point that I just ended the conversation, Frankie, because they didn't grasp on. This is like nothing else before. I even spoke with an attorney from the Republican Party. And they were going like, "Well, I was surprised by the numbers." I go like, "Well, yeah, bitch, you're out there far away. You're not here on the ground. You're not here with the people." So again, we'll see. And again, this we're talking on supposition, guys, because we don't know. Well, on the 29th, we will know, and that's going to be interesting.
You think it's going to take a couple days because it's over what 30 some thousand votes?
Uh, I think Minerva's Marisa was done in a day.
Oh, really?
Remember? I think so. I think Nelda knows.
I think it was a
Yeah,
couple days, no? Because I remember them being in the
you might be
courthouse for
right.
like I think a
You
few
might be
days.
right.
So again, it's 30,000 votes that they have to go. I have a vote for Caballero. I have a vote, so it's gonna be one by one, literally. So it's gonna take some time, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to be in Ciudad de Mexico on the 30th, so keep me posted, Frankie. It's going
I
to be
will.
interesting as crap, and I will be doing shows. That's why they say Frankie money talks. Money is the evil of all, and that's the truth. It's the love of money, but yeah. And as I said, there's going to be a lot of beans spilled. No one wants to go to jail. That's again what the sentiment is with a lot of these people. Crap, I just lost my place. See, crap. Yes, it's the Lopez clan that controlled all of this, and they went to the jugular because they had all the contracts to lose. Yes, no campaigning because they either had their ballots already filled out and ready to be scanned, or the clerks in the elections office bought and paid for voter fraud. One of the things that they mentioned to me was that with like the Daniela race, Frankie, there was like big old stacks of just Daniela without anybody else being clicked in.
That and that's very telling because if you have one candidate in a presidential race, guys, a presidential race that has what, let's say 20 races, it has more 20 different, yeah, 20 different races in a presidential election, and only one position, one seat was voted on, that should be a red flag. But again, there's no telling how far these guys will go. to hold on to power because I hate to say this, guys, but they can't live out in the real world. All they know how to do is suck on that tit, suck on the county tit, on the BISD tit. They don't know what it's like to do it on their own. So what do? They cheat, they lie, they're deceiving. But but they try and make themselves look as the best things on earth.
To answer Nelda's question, guess what? They get appointed by the commissioner's court. Joey Lopez, Eddie
Yeah,
Treviño, Sophie Benavides. So that's another common denominator.
yeah.
And look, it'd be amazing, guys, for me to come back from Mexico City and say, hey, y'all need to go to court because y'all are going to have another election or your elections are going to be completely overturned. One of the things that differentiates, guys, our election and BISD election is we don't get sworn in until January.
So there's time.
Right, Frankie?
Yeah, yeah. There's time.
So there is no swearing in, guys. There is no final canvassing of the votes. So if this election comes to prove, then we all need to get together and demand that every single one of them be reviewed again. But again, it shouldn't cost us anything because of the illegality of them flipping the votes on this one. It's going to be crazy. We'll know by the end of November. It's going to be an interesting December. I'll tell you that much for the city of Brownsville. It was a few days for the Leal Peña recount. Yeah, thank you. I hope they take people that can go toe and toe with those rats. Didn't Minerva take kids to the recount last time? Wasn't best president there fight foot and nail for Peña? Yes. Patrick Hammis. Yes. And look, I understand. And to Mr. Caballero, I know you may think, well, let me put my family in there because they're going to, and that it's great. Uh, I would get someone that is well versed on elections. Also, a couple of individuals that they might be afraid of to do something chanchuquillo. And again, still offering my services. I'll be here on the 29th. I won't be here on the 30th. On the 29th, I'm yours, baby. Lie, cheat, manipulate. You mean be a politician? Oh, yeah. Seriously, I did not know that. Ridiculous. Is that part of the county? Remember, elections are run by the county,
Yeah.
not by the city. In regards to the city charter, that's a good show for another time because we got a lot to say about that. Kids were the counters, not the watchers.
There was a comment, Erasmo. I don't know if you caught it that Marisa Leal had. I think La Voz, El Gallo de Joe Valdez. A few comments up, he says, "Didn't Marisa take kids to the recount last time?" And Nelda's trying to say, that it's kind of like, you
Yeah.
know, uh, that they were there taking part of the process, and maybe it was best for them to have adults. I think that's what the comment was alluding to.
Yeah. And let me say, again, everyone knows how they run the campaign. I think you need individuals that are experts on it. One of the individuals that I think that we haven't heard anything from, Frankie, Marisa Leal. You
That
know,
it's my opinion, and again, looking at it from the outside in, I think this is going to drag on to the next 2 years, and it's just going to be one of those things where, oh well, the election's coming up, so let's just, you know,
leave it for the election.
I think it's going to that because that's where we're headed.
Well, with that said, I I hope that if Marisa is listening, I don't want her to give up. I want her to continue to fight. I want her to continue to be present at a lot of the meetings. You know, I want her to get ready for the next 2 years. She's got to start now. You know, she's got to be ready to fight soon. The Cameron County court candidates were too quiet this election. Yes,
Very quiet.
they all were. And again, I go back to the same thing. Some of the counters were young individuals. Yeah, I go back to the same thing. Were they deflated, Frankie, because of being a minority? Was something that they hadn't ever experienced anyway. They don't know what to expect,
Hmm.
or were they deflated because Victor Caballero announced that he was going to do a recount, and they were going like, "Oh crap, we just got busted." So again, if there's anything that anyone knows out there, be the whistleblower now. You know, be the whistleblower now because you would probably get the better deal, right?
Yeah, it's going to be very telling on November 28th, depending on how many days this drags on. But uh, this is going to make national news. For the sake of democracy, guys, for the sake of our livelihoods here in South Texas. I hope this isn't true. And let's not forget Adam Hinojosa, Republican candidate for senator. He's also challenging, or is in the works. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's in the works of challenging the recount against Morgan Lamantilla. So, for the sake of democracy, guys, for the sake of those individuals that say it doesn't matter, I don't need to vote because it's fixed already. I hope we don't find that. But if it does, Erasmo, golly, man, this goes to show that all these previous elections were rigged, and it even goes back to our election. But again, this is something that I haven't disclosed out publicly because people would say, "Oh, you're just a sore loser." Again, I know how to lose gracefully, and I'm the type that it did sh- you know it shot my soul. But whenever you hear these things come up, you start to question and say, I had a hunch, or I have a hunch that something wasn't right. But again, for the sake of democracy, I hope that this isn't the case. I do hope that that these elections were fair, and there was no manipulation uh, being taken place. But if there was, we heads need to roll because South Texas is corrupted. uh, and we all know, the stories of elected officials. And this would just eat at the heart of democracy, in my opinion.
Well, let me tell you, it's rock and roll, baby. Let's let it happen and let the chips fall where they may. And if anyone out there had anything to do or any knowledge in regards to all this crap, let them fry. Let them all fry. Because that would mean that Erasmo Castro is going to be next Cameron County Commissioner and Carlos Cascos is to be next judge. That'd be great for Cameron County. It'd be great for our community. So let it happen. Let's burn it all down. And let me tell you, Frankie, if such a thing does happen and we get on the commissioner's court because of this mess, gonna burn the whole mother down. Every bit. Thanks for coming on, Frankie.
Hey, it was fun, man. Again, I did say that I'm gonna come on sporadically. I'm gonna do a barbershop talk during the mornings on Wednesdays, like around 11 or 12 ish. But hey, maybe we could do a late night show, maybe on Fridays or something. I think it'd be cool. I kind of forgot how it was to come on to come on with you, but it was a lot of fun. And again, these guys at Osmo, these guys, they always give us something to talk about. So
Always.
it's never a dull day in Brownsville, Cameron County politics, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned.
Sunday at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, a sports talk.
Sunday sports talk at 10 a.m. And then I think on Wednesdays, like around 11 or 12 a.m., barbershop talk with Roel. Gonna do something different. Again, um, I'm gonna say it. I think of the audience, of our audience, as a partnership, and you always have to spice things up because if you do the exact same thing, you get redundant. So I want to do different things to, just to test other waters. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated.
But you should be at church at 10 o'clock in the morning. guys. Thanks, Frankie, for coming on. It really helps, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great rest of the evening. Have a great weekend. Uh, it's good. I should be back to full force Monday morning. I think my Facebook jail time ends Sunday sometime, which is okay. Thanks for coming on, guys. Have a great evening, great weekend. Stay safe, stay dry. If you don't have to be on the road, don't be on the road, guys. Too many accidents. Guys, be good to each other. Continue to be good to me. God bless.